Welcome to the Author Acceleration Academy YouTube channel. My name is Krista Dunk of the Author Acceleration Academy and 100X Publishing. And I'm excited today to talk with another of the book called Broken Chapters. One of our Broken Chapters authors is with me today, and his name is Mark Pollish. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you very much, Krista. I'm very excited to be here today and talk about Broken Chapters, and specifically my chapter in there, Chapter 7.
Chapter 7, yes. And I have to say that many of our 21 authors in Broken Chapters are women. So we're thankful to have you and Andy and just kind of, showing up for the men here in the Broken Chapters book. And I really do enjoy your chapter. And I would love to, here is Broken Chapters, by the way. And I'm just gonna turn to chapter 7 and read a little bit of your bio, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Mark Pollish, ski professional, author, coach, and prayer warrior. I feel like we should also add mentor to other people on their spiritual journey as well. But you are recently retired, and you have worked for the Alta and Snowbird ski areas in Utah okay, so did you work there for 40 years, or was it longer actually?
I worked there for 45
years.
So I started working at Snowbird while I was in college. That kind of led me into my career. My college degree took me 8 years to finish because I kept dropping out to go skiing.
Too much skiing.
And working up there, and it was a long journey. But once I finished my degree, and this is in my chapter, I hitchhiked up to Alta and got a job and worked there for 40 years.
Wow.
And I just finished this January, turned 70 years old this month on October. And now I'm starting a new career as an author. And like you said, Krista, I love mentoring people, and I am a avid prayer warrior. I get up early every day, sometimes between 2 and 5.
Wow.
Pray, and then sometimes go back to sleep, sometimes stay up. But
yeah,
it's exciting to be not retired, but I'm refired for new things.
Refired. I like that. I appreciate that kind of perspective too, because we definitely in the kingdom of God need people not to just retire and go sit somewhere and do something. We need that refire, because we need that that generation ahead of us to really be there and share their wisdom. And so, yes, I love that. And so you and your wife, Carol, live in Utah still. And okay, you have a son and a daughter and also a grandson, which is awesome. And yes, we're gonna talk a little bit more at the end about your brand new book that just came out this month, and also to some of the life coaching things that you're wanting to do. But now, if you would take a moment and talk about your chapter 7, called Songs of Change, here in Broken Chapters, and just talk about why you chose to write what you did and what you hope it helps people with as they read that chapter.
I'll do that. I was very excited when I heard you were doing a book that was going to have a bunch of different authors putting together their stories, their testimonies. That's kind of what my chapter is about. But how to deal with life and life's hardships and what life throws at you. As you know, everybody gets thrown a lot of curveballs, and everything's not perfect. And when you asked me to do this, I jumped at the chance, because I knew, first of all, that I'd been working with you with your website and your challenge for write your book. And I had started writing my own book. And when you came up with this Broken Chapters, I was thinking, what can I do? And then I thought, I got an idea. I can take my book and encapsulate it into one chapter. And that'll kind of give me a focus on getting the word out. So it was a lot of work to edit it down to one chapter, my entire book into one chapter, with a limit of, I think, 3,500 words.
Yeah, I think
So,
each chapter is about 2,800 to I think about 3,400 words. So yeah.
it really focused me on just getting things and being very succinct, clear, concise. And so that's what I did. And I was surprised that it had actually worked out. So that's how my chapter came about. And what I was surprised about when I got the book, because I bought the book as soon as it came out and reviewed it, and I started reading all these other chapters. I knew some of the authors from our Zoom meetings, but I was impressed of the quality of the authors, their stories, their personal stories, and friends that I've got to get the book have told me they like my chapter, but they really like reading all the other authors too. It's a fantastic book, and it's a great read. I encourage you to read it. But my chapter, it's called Songs of Change, and I've always liked music. And when I was growing up, I grew up in the 60s during that time of what I call the hippie Jesus revolution. There was a lot of change going on. And I think for me, music fueled a lot of that change. I tried to tie in current events, the Kennedys, their assassination, the civil rights movement, landing on the moon, along with all the music, and I'll tie it in together, tell my story, and then also put in my passion for skiing and working with avalanche control. And it was a fun thing to do, to write that book, and really fun to get to know the other authors.
Yes, I agree. I've worked with many book projects over the years, and I have to say Broken Chapters was one of the funnest ones that I've ever worked on. So I really appreciate each author being willing to share their story. And so thank you again, Mark. I really like your story, and I love the fact that just several months later, you came out with your full book, the full story, the full picture of some of your life experiences and things you've been through. And so, yes, we will definitely get to that one. But you have a special topic that you wanted to bring up on this interview. And I'm interested to hear what you have to say about this. You want to talk about evangelism in social media. So what do you have to say on that topic, Mark?
Well, I started on this journey with social media kind of when I met Pedro in the 100X group, and that's where I got involved with you shortly after that. And I thought I need to get more involved in this, because this is the future. Social media, when it first came out, I thought it's just people talking about their life. But after a while, I figured that this was a way to connect with people. This is how people communicate. And when I was growing up, it was always, Walter Cronkite in the 5 o'clock news, and that's the way it is. And I talk about that in my book. But today, social media, and particularly after COVID hit the last 4 years, people have been on social media, and it's just a way to connect with people and get to know people. And it's an incredible tool for evangelizing. And that's my passion. As a believer, our job is, to love God and then to love people, those two things. And what better way to love people than telling them about the good news? And that's really what the gospel is. So my passion is to use social media, use writing books, podcasts, YouTube, whatever it is, Facebook, Instagram, is to connect with people, and do it in a way that is non-threatening, because I think the world has seen enough of the violence, and they attribute a lot of the violence in the world to, you always hear people say, well, I don't like religion. It's the start of all the wars, and it's the reason we're going through this. But that's not the truth. If they knew the gospel, they wouldn't say that. So I like to be very discreet and use building relationships with people on social media, getting to know them, getting to know their story. They'll get to know your story because you've got the good news. So I'd like to use that as a platform, and instead of in the old days, people had a soapbox and they'd thump the Bible, but it's not about that. It's about building the kingdom of God, and the way we do that is being nice to people, getting to know them, getting to know their story, and God is in control, and he's not worried. And we as believers need to partner with God in what he's doing. And so I think it's just an incredible opportunity right now. And people are hungry for good news. So that's just the short of it on using social media as a platform.
Yeah. I love how you said God is not worried.
God is not worried.
I'm writing that down, Mark. God is not worried. And I love that. And I feel like we can be people on social media who have hope and are encouraging and are loving and just fun and kind. And, that's who we're supposed to be every day, wherever we are. And social media can be a place where there is a lot of negativity and there's a lot of division and a lot of just messages that are not hopeful and are not kind or loving. And that can be a rough place to be. And so, yeah, if I feel like if we can be people who do have hope and encouragement, that's attractive. That's attractive, don't you think?
I do think that.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say on that?
Well, I just think that the world is hungry for the good news.
Yeah.
I went on a date night last night with my wife, and we went and saw the movie. Just came out. It's called After Death.
Oh, I want to see that.
Oh, it's incredible. I was
Wow.
blown away how professionally made it was.
Wow.
And I was very impressed that they had all these doctors, professional scientists, people in the medical community, because I kind of worked as an EMT the last 40 years, and I've seen a lot of death.
Mm.
And it's one thing that's 100% certain, that everybody's going to go through.
Yeah.
And for me, when I was young, I think this is common with any person in any part of the world, they always think about what happens after you die, or why am I living? What's the purpose of life? And this movie really answers a lot of those questions from a scientific and medical point of view. Very well made. So I encourage you to see that.
Wow.
And I use that theme a lot a little bit in Broken Chapters, but I really use it a lot in my book. I talk about some of the death that I've witnessed in people, and even suicide, which is very prevalent in today's society. And it shouldn't be that way.
Right.
We need to be our brother's keeper.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Well, let's talk about your book now. I see it behind you on your bookshelf because
Oh
I
yeah,
recognize the cover.
I bought a few of them. I took that picture myself. This is called This is Mount Superior. It's actually a huge mountain that stands right between Snowbird and Alta.
Wow.
And Krista helped me with this book. She's a pro at this, but thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
You know, on the back page, it just says, this is what you wrote, I think. In my memoir, Living the Dream, I tell about my coming of age story and the generation's music that led the way for him. I was a true seeker. You know, I came out of the 60s and 70s, the hippie movement, and I had a lot of adventures, world travel, setbacks, disappointments. I got into drugs. I was seeking truth wherever I could. I consider myself a mystic, but about the time I started on ski patrol, I had an encounter with the Holy Spirit, and after that, it radically changed my life. And so this is a memoir, and I tried to write it in a way that would be interesting for people to read. It would kind of tell stories about skiing, about avalanches. I go into a lot about not the technical parts of it, but the human side of it, because I have lost a lot of friends in avalanches. My wife lost her husband in an avalanche, and she was 5 months pregnant. I had a lot of near death close experiences myself. So I just wanted to write about that, make it kind of an exciting read, but also I wanted to include in it the idea about you have a choice how to live your dream, how to make yourself, your life, the end of your life, finish well, because that's really what it's all about. We have a very short period of time when you look at eternity here on this planet. You know, maybe if you live to be an old age, 70, 80, 90 years old, a lot of people, their lives are cut short. And so it's important to think about that. And that's why I brought up the subject of death in my book, and want people to think about that, because it's something we're all going to go through. But like I said earlier, God's not worried about it. He wants you to get through, and he wants you to know that you have a purpose on this planet, and you need to finish the race and run it well. We all have a race to run, and it's different than anybody else's, and it's very unique. And I just want to be an encourager to people in finishing well in their race. And so at the end of my book, I talk about one thing would be very good to do is to write your own epitaph. What do you want people to say about you? Because your life is going to be played out before you after you die. And so God wants you to get it right. Doesn't have to be perfect. He just wants you to finish well. He wants you to, first of all, to love God and love other people. And I think as believers, that's one of the best things we can do, is just be very simplistic in how we can love our neighbor as ourselves, the golden rule.
Good.
My book is a fun read. You can get it on Amazon.
It is a fun read. And like you said, it is full of adventures, and you did write it in a way that's really includes a lot of interesting things. I mean, I've only known you for the last couple of years, and some of the things as I'm editing and just helping you with this project, I'm like, wow, I didn't know that about Mark. But it's super interesting, and it's a good read to see your journey of really, like you mentioned, being someone who was seeking truth, and you did find it, and you do talk about the topic of death in your book, because as a young man working at Snowbird and Alta, like you said, you were confronted with that many times as a young person, which made you kind of stop, and it was other young people as well. And so really it made you as a younger person stop and think about these things that some people don't take the time to stop and think about until their later years. But yeah, it definitely impacted you. So it's really good. Yeah. Well, I enjoyed your book a lot. And at the very end, you do have a little bit of an evangelistic message just at the end, but I do think it's really encouraging for people to think about as they look back on your journey, and you, after having searched in many, many places, found truth and really found hope and found joy, and suddenly your life looked a lot different, and you found purpose, and you've been able to be living your dream. And I do know that that's your heart. You've talked about that many times, about wanting to help people live their dreams too. And it's not too late. And so how are you helping people do that? What life coaching things are you beginning to offer, Mark?
Well, one of the things that I'm a learner, so one of the things that I have a passion about right now is trying to connect with people of my generation and getting them involved in the wisdom that they hold and carry, and passing it on to the younger generation, mentoring, so to speak. And in doing so, you're gonna solve somebody else's problem, but it also will provide you extra income. I think when you get to be my age, people think, oh, you're just gonna play golf and go fishing and goof off, and wait till you die. But really, that's not God's plan for us. God's plan is that we work all the time. And work should be fun. And it should be something you have passion in. And so I really like to connect with people of my generation and help them use their expertise and build a business. I mean, it could be something as simple as, maybe they're set financially, but they want to be doing something, or maybe they're not so good off financially, and they're thinking, I'm going to have to go get a job at the Home Depot or Costco or something. But they can pass on their expertise, because people in my age, they have this wealth of wisdom, and I think it's beneficial that they use that to pass on to the younger generation. So I kind of want to start a coaching business. I'm a people person. I want to connect with people my age and encourage them to do what I'm doing. I work a lot with the younger generation and learning new things. I love learning. I'm just starting a YouTube channel.
Wow.
Wanting to grow. So
That's so great. Okay, so we should probably wrap up here in just a couple minutes, but what are you going to be talking about on your YouTube channel? Do you have plans for that?
Well, just what I talked about. I wanted to encourage the people that are my age that they can get back into the game. They still have a lot left to contribute to society, to contribute to this younger generation, and to make some money doing that.
Yeah.
And I also, because of the book and because of you, I want to write another book. I'm going to keep going. It's addicting.
You know what it is. And I have seen this over and over. And even in myself, I have 11 books, but 12 and 13 are all, get almost done. Anyway, so I understand. Once you write one, you're kind of become a serial author. And I love that, because you realize it's just, I understand how to do this, and I can do this. And also I think it gets down into your identity that I'm an author. And so that really helps too. So Mark, thank you so much. I appreciate you just coming on and sharing. And how can people connect with you? Do you have a website?
I do have a website. It's just myname.com. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook and soon to be on YouTube. I'm on LinkedIn, but it's just my name, Mark Pollish, and that's spelled with 2 L's.
Pollish. Yes,
Yeah.
great.
2 L's. You can connect with me like that, and I'd love talking with you.
That's amazing. I will make sure to include your website address and a link to Broken Chapters and your book in the comments here on this video too. So I appreciate you, Mark. Thank you for all that you do. You have wonderful stories to tell, and you have a wonderful heart that I know you are sharing in many ways with other people. So blessings to you.
Thank you, Krista. Blessings to you.
All right, and that wraps up another one of our Broken Chapters author interview series here today with Mark Pollish. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and bye for now.